Hi there everyone, welcome back to Dandelion Delphi Tutorials. Today we're going to look at types of errors, and this is typically questions that you will find in your theory exam, but it is useful to understand why you're getting certain errors in Delphi. So this is really for grade 10 to 12 learners. So let's have a look at the first of our three errors that we're going to cover. The first is a syntax error, and these are very easy to identify. It's when you try to run your program and you get that red line over your program. This would be something like you have misspelled a variable, or you have the incorrect data types on the right and the left. You maybe open brackets and didn't close brackets, or you misspelled the name of a function, or you're missing an end. Any of these could create a syntax error. So when I run my program, I've made some errors in this program, and it's indicating that there's an error on this line. See if you can identify what the error is. So we can see that name here was spelled differently from what I'm using here. So either I have to change the variable name here, or I want to spell it properly, so I'll add the E there, and that will fix that syntax error. If I run my program again, it will take me to the next error. And here I have misspelled string to int. I've left out the T. So I'll fix that error, and if I run my program again, I have random range highlighted, but random range is spelled correctly. So guess what it is? I hope you guessed correctly. We need to go up at the top in our program and add math so that Delphi will recognize random range. Another example of a syntax error that we often find is this one here. The message at the bottom here says missing operator or semicolon. If you get this error, just look at the line above. You're probably missing a semicolon in there. But this could also happen if you don't have, for example, that plus there in between, because that's our operator, and we need between our variables, we need something. So by fixing that, we will have no syntax errors anymore. Logical errors won't give you a red line over your code, and it also won't cause your program to crash. But there could be instances like, for example, not seeing output, and that could be just because you didn't code the output. Or you get the incorrect answer, and that was just because you calculated it incorrectly where you did the processing. So those are examples of logical errors. One of the most common logical errors you guys make is with random range, because random range excludes the second argument. So this is a logical error. The question asked you to create a random grade from 8 to 12, but this will only pick random numbers from 8 to 11. So therefore I need to fix the logical error by adding my 13 there. I could also have made a mistake here in my calculations by swapping around these values. And I'm sure that you have experienced some runtime errors. That is when you are trying to run your program, enter something, and then your program crashes. Now, it could be because you are trying to string to int something, and you have entered a character from the alphabet in there instead of a number. Or maybe you entered a decimal value and you have string to int. Therefore, we can't convert from a string to an integer. Also, like with maths, we can't divide by 0, and that would also cause a runtime error. And we're also not allowed to calculate the negative of a square root. That will also cause a runtime error. So I'm using the example of online games, the previous program that you guys did in my book, just to explain to you what could cause a runtime error. So I've added all the data here for the learners, and there are 3 of them. And now I'm clicking on summary, and all of a sudden my program crashes, and the message here is the hint as to what I've done wrong. Now, often when you click on break, it will take you to the line where you made the error. And you can see the error was caused on this line, but this is not the actual reason why this program crashed. The reason why this program crashed is this was still set to 0. So in my memo here, I have taken out the line to increment iCount. Therefore, iCount is still 0. So it is not counting my 3 learners that I've entered. And therefore, when I'm going to click on the button summary, I'm trying to divide by 0 and that causes a runtime error. Thank you for watching everyone. Hope to see you soon.